Hey guys, it's Michael Valentino from Crusader Caravans in Campbellfield, Victoria, and today I'm going to be presenting to you the future of diesel heating and hot water. So as the transition of full electric vans and gasless vans and diesel specific vans are coming through the industry, hearing a lot of whispers about different sort of heating options and different sort of hot water options. Anything that gathers heat obviously is going to require a significant amount of battery power. So this lovely customer, who's worked with us numerous times on about 3 or 4 different caravans, has really dove into a full diesel option. Now we have a heap of solar on the roof, we have inverters and chargers and a heap of batteries. I believe he's going to upgrade it to about a 900 amp capacity. However, still mindful that just because you've got the ability to run something on power doesn't necessarily mean you should be running something on power. Maybe it's better to be able to run it on diesel. Diesel's a very economical fuel source. It uses very little diesel, and there's a lot of people within the German market, such as Eberspäch and a few other diesel heater options that's just for heating within the caravan market. We've played around with a few, mucked around with the Truma unit that has a water tank. Found that the usage of it was just not compatible with that of what our customers expect. This particular unit we're going to run you through is a D15 unit, the unit that is from the team at Diesel Heat in Tasmania. These lovely guys have looked after us on this particular unit, as it's the first one fitted in sort of the Crusader network. It is a very interesting system with a very simple sort of premise of how it heats. We'll run you through it. It's underneath here. Let me just walk you through it. So he lives under here. He's a big old unit. Looks very intense. We have an air intake up the top here. We have a furnace. So this is a furnace from the team at Eberspäch. So what it does, and it's so interesting, is it gets loaded up during manufacture with 15-ish litres of coolant, right? Like what you'd have in a car. You fill it in, so we've taken the fridge out so it has a fill point. You shouldn't be needing to touch it for a significant period of time. Probably the next owner, you know what I mean? And what it does is, it has these rubber tubes that essentially has coolant in, coolant out, and what it does is it cycles the coolant around these tubes that we've ran, and it sends that coolant through a heat exchange, essentially, which is this little guy here, I believe, and it heats the coolant up to a highly significant amount of heat. So, you know, I think the boiling temperature of coolant's like 120 degrees or something extremely high. And water, really, in a caravan, it's going through a tempering valve here on the side that's fitted to the unit that comes with it. So the guys at Diesel Heat obviously get this unit. It's an Eberspäch, a German unit. They then combine it with their fixtures and fittings to make it a more economical unit, a better blow speed, more air output, and they put it together in an awesome little way. It looks very complicated, but the actual unit for installation by myself and my technicians was just really effortless. So I was very impressed with the style and fitting, and I'm super keen to be working with these guys a bit more. What this does is, it has hot water in, cold water in, hot water out, and then it loops back through a tubular system that the coolant runs through, and it heats up like hydronic heating in a house. So if you're not familiar with that, general premise is water runs through a hot exchange, so fire or you know, a diesel heater, furnace, or something that generates heat through pipes, essentially. And it then, in this particular unit, the water goes around those pipes as you're using it, and it heats it up so quickly that it might, you know, it's probably achieving 50 degrees or 55 degree output or whatever the temperature sensor, temperature valve set at, and then runs to those particular hot points on the caravan, such as your kitchen sink, your ensuite basin, your shower, and it essentially just heats water by running that water over and around pipes, copper pipes that have coolants running through them. A lot of coolant. I couldn't believe how much this thing drank. So definitely a bit of fun. Definitely something different. You know, 10 years experience. I've never seen anything like this, used anything like this. Since doing it, it makes so much sense as to why anyone who has a caravan that needs heating, or you know, free camp water heaters, wouldn't opt for this. It's a 10-litre diesel tank on the back. It runs through a pump. Typical, you know, sort of diesel heater install. This is where it gets a little bit different. So how does it actually heat How do you control it? Where does the heat come out of? This does all the heating, essentially. This unit here through the furnace system. We close this up here, and then we move on to this little guy here. So it sort of makes a little bit more sense once you understand it. So it's got a little control valve there to be able to allow the unit to be controlled by the display up the top. You've got your air output, and then we have all these pipes that essentially it's running through a ducted fan unit. So essentially coolant in, it runs through all these pipes, coolant goes back out to the unit. This little guy here allows for you to switch on and off the fan with the output of heat into the caravan. And then as it's doing that, the hot air that's coming obviously off the pipes, off the water as it's running through that unit, then outputs here. And like, as far as heat wise, it hasn't got that dry heat that you'd expect of like a diesel heater, you know, but more of sort of a moist heat, if you will, similar to that of what you see in a gas heater. But I was in here for 15 minutes. This thing was chirping along hard. It works. It heats the van up. And as far as economic, like the systems, you know, the gentleman's got a massive submarine system, so you can see power use. It uses bugger all. It really doesn't use much at all. I'm astounded why we haven't seen more of these units coming through. And the guys at Dieselhead, I think, just for the operation, fitment, and installation, have absolutely nailed it. And I don't really think, as far as a diesel option, I'd be hard pressed to find anything that betters this and betters the service that those guys offered as well. Let me show you the display panel. So to use it, right, very, very straightforward. Obviously, this little spot here gets covered by this little gentleman, right? So that way you can keep it out of the way. We were sort of stuck with the fitment spot for this particular customer because he already had another diesel option in there, Truma, that we just went, look, I don't think this works. It's 10 liters. It's not gonna do what we need it to do. We need something that it's not instant. Very clear separation. Get to ask, is it instant? First phone call I got from all their dealers around the country. Is it instant? Well, no, I don't believe it's instant. No one's making claims of instant. Instant implies that it's bang hot. It's not instant. Is it endless? The guys at Diesel Heat have a set, you know, time allowance that they allow for these things. I believe it heats up, from my playing with it, it's 15 to 20 for absolutely steaming vans, steaming hot, water steaming hot. But I left this thing overnight, came in the next day, it hadn't been on for 12 plus hours, ran the hot water, bang, I've got water still. So it obviously still holds temperature, it still does what it needs to do. I really think a 15-minute long shower, providing you're not short on water, I don't think this thing would let you down. It's fantastic because it's that coolant's consistently hot, so it doesn't really make a difference. So to turn it on, we press our little center button, and then we press it again. Boom. Right. Now you got sun. Now obviously we start hearing some bits and pieces, although I'm mic'd up, so you're not be able to hear the bits and bobs. You've got, right, that's the heater option. So yes, we want it to heat. What do we want to go to? Well, let's go 35 degrees because why not? Let's just cook. Then we've got fan. So you've got all your fan speeds, low, medium, and high. I haven't explored this little guy here. I assume that might be auto. And we go high. This thing in about 15 minutes will be running, and we're going to have hot water to the temperature setting of that of the tempering valve on the side of the unit. So what we'll do is we'll come back. We'll show you the heat output. We'll show you sort of the noise you'd expect to hear from these units. Very, very minimal as it's sort of on that startup, but certainly an impressive unit. I'll catch you back on. Well, I'm hot. The diesel heater is working, running a treat, it's ticking away. As it's getting warm, yep, there's a little bit of sound generated because, as you can imagine, it's pumping a heap of coolant, it's running water through pipes, it's running water around those pipes. So you can hear a little fan sort of going. Again, I do have it on its highest speed. If I drop the intensity, keeping in mind as well, thermostat control, we've ran our little thermostat to just this little side piece here. We didn't want to, it's just a little thermostat, so we just ticked him here just so that way, as it senses the room temperature, it will cut in and out and it'll give you a clear, descriptive sort of understanding of what the room's running at. We've dropped the fan back, so it's not going to be as noisy, and we'll sort of see that pull back now. As far as hot water goes, we've only been out of the van filming our lovely Starlink video, check the YouTube channel, for the next videos, for probably 10 minutes. So really, I wouldn't really expect hot water to be hot, but I would put money on the fact that it probably is. If we run our little sink here, and the pump sort of gets through and you get that sort of hot water, keeping in mind it's pretty cold here today. And that is absolutely, well, as the hot water's grabbing through, definitely freaking warm. This here is obviously controlled through the tempering valve because you've obviously got hot water running through. That was definitely wouldn't want to shower in that. That'll be scalding hot, that. So we drop that flick mixer back, and we might need to put some more water in Mr. Figgins' caravan. This option as far as heating goes is running fairly warm. So this is clearly still heating up, and as it's getting hotter, it's going to pump even more hot air. These sort of units are used typically in very high-end off-road units, and I think if you keep an eye out for what Crusader's up to, you'll see that sort of transition to something to this effect. But absolutely becoming more and more requested. I think we've probably got 6 or 7 requested heated hot water services like this in our system with the Crusader Caravans Melbourne dealership. But the advantage for you, of course, is the fact that we have actually fitted one, stop to start. We know what goes wrong. We know what temperamental elements can go with them, and we have the full backup and support from the guys at Diesel Heat. And they're using great German engineered product like Eberspacher or Eberspacher or however you refer it to. Yeah, das ist sehr good. We need to wait a little bit longer. We're going to have full steam hot water, but the great thing is we're free camping. We're not losing any power. This unit really doesn't use a great deal of energy. As opposed to a 240 element that might pull 160 amps, this is using nothing by comparison. This, for me, if you're someone who wants to be able to free camp 3 to 6 weeks, or if you just love long showers, or if you just want to be able to future-proof your caravan, absolutely consider this as an option. The Swift hot water service, gas and electric, is a wicked unit. It's just different. And I think having a tankless system that water runs through just means that theoretically, if you've got 190 litres, you could have 190 litres worth of hot water. Depends on what run rate you're running at, depends on the temperature outside. If it's -2s, well, yeah, look, you probably have a different expectancy. But this is absolutely awesome. I'm genuinely floored by the system. So happy to be able to present something like this as the first Crusader network dealer into the market and say, we're here, this stuff's not beyond us, we're here for it, we're loving it, manufacturer of the year, consider this for your next van, speak to your local dealer. Alternatively, if you want to speak to my lovely, good-looking, beautiful team here in Campbellfield, give us a call on 9359-2938. Head to our website for more videos, blog posts on the latest van that you can purchase at www.crusadercaravansmelbourne.com.au, or alternatively, email us, lovely people, at hello@crusadermelbourne.com. It's been a pleasure, a privilege, and I'll see you next time.